Welcome back, everyone, to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast. This time, it is going to be a 2v2 brought to you by Char Martel, playing as the Soviet Union. His buddy is going to be the Maxis 8888 NS. He's also the Soviet Union, and his enemies are going to be Clusterfuck. Playing as the OKW, written in that way, it's just weird. And Jarkov, also playing as the OKW. And yeah, the map is of course Elst Outskirts, the most glorious map of all time. Is it really Elst? Okay, good. I did not fuck it up. Elst Outskirts, one of the most annoying maps in the world. But hey, we're gonna be fine with it. Are we? Good. So, kind of annoying because, again, like, I say that about every map, do I? I'm starting to feel like Rommel. You know, my friend Rommel used to always just say, this is the worst map in the game. For all the maps. And yeah, it was kind of correct, to be honest, because this game just has some annoying maps. Whatever. Bullshit aside, yeah, the problem with this map is just, like, this and this kind of having the buildings. And whenever fuel points or VPs have the building nearby, you know, the token building, it's just always kind of annoying. And, well, mostly, like, the central part is okay. It really is, like, the north that is annoying to fight over because of this bloody hedgerow, plus all of the, you know, line-of-sight blockers over here. Like, in the south, there's also obstacles, but there's not as many line-of-sight blockers, you know? But whatever. First engagement is going to be coming up here in the north. We have some Sturm Pioneers moving up with their glorious STG-44s. And yeah, they're forcing back those lovely engineers. But the engineers do have the backup of these Penal Battalion. The Penal Battalion are trying to come in. I think that the Penal Battalion, though, are probably just going to be forced back by the amount of Volksgrenadiers there are around here. Way too many enemy troops. And yeah, here they come in the flank. They have to escape. There's a second Penal squad coming in, but it's not enough. It's a little bit too late. Lots of damage coming from them through on these Sturm Pioneers because they were on negative cover. However, it's just not enough because there's still the support coming from these Kar 98Ks. In the south, we have the other Soviet player trying to move up with his own Penal squads, and they're actually having a lot more of a success because they were able to get into the building and the enemies were not. That is, once again, like the difference that these buildings can make in an early firefight. Of course, in the north, the OKW player got even an inferior building, but that still was enough for him to win that engagement quite handily. And now the second Penal, yeah, he's trying to fight the first Volksgrenadier squad, but really, like, he's not going to have the firepower. And the Germans, as you can see, having 4 windows to fire from, they can put down a lot more firepower than they expected. However, of course, the Penals can get some good damage in, and they force back the first squad with massive casualties. And now it's going to be essentially even on the right side. Penal Battalion Southwest tries to capture the field point, but that's not going to work thanks to that good positioning of the Volksgrenadiers again into the building. Man, it's almost like the game wants to prove me that buildings are annoying. Because it's not like you need particularly good positioning of your units and facing, like, you know, cover is mostly about how you're going to position your troops, how are you going to take advantage of the direction of cover, how are you going to flank, all of that. But the buildings, it's just kind of like, yeah, you right-click the unit into the building and then hope that they don't come from the side that doesn't have windows. So, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things about Hearts of Iron's game mechanics that sometimes kind of into me. Alright, Combat Engineer Squad trying to get some damage off on these folks, but the folks getting into heavy cover and probably going to win this engagement relatively easily. And yeah, the Combat Engineers have to escape. In the meantime, wait, are they gonna get wiped? Okay, no, they survive. Enemy trooper down, though, so one squad here did get wiped. There is a Combat Engineer as well, so 2 Combat Engineers almost getting wiped out, one of them totally getting wiped out, and this Penal Battalion is now in trouble. He's getting surrounded by Sturm Pioneers and Volksgrenadiers. Here comes the Incendiary Grenade into the building. Luckily for these Penals, the Incendiary Grenade was actually placed into the center of the house, and the models were all on the flanks of the house. So they actually didn't take all that much damage, but that forces them away from the building. it also forces these Pinos to stand alone against the tide of Nazis, and now they're going to have to escape. The Pino squad tries to get into this building. It's a very, very good building to get in. Lots of windows that they can fire from. A second incendiary grenade is going to force them out. A third incendiary grenade is going to be way, way redundant and overdone. However, the first Pino squad is actually still around, so I wonder if anything's going to happen with them. Here comes a satchel charge onto the destroyed car, and it's going to wipe out a Volksgrenadier squad. Amazing play by the Maxis. In fact, more than an amazing play by the Maxis, it was kind of a play by Jarkov. He was clearly busy microing his units up. No, he was not. He had already retreated up north from the onslaught of Char Martel's Pinos. So he decided to just not pay attention to his Volksgrenadiers, and that was a big mistake, and a crater is all that is left of his Volksgrenadiers. Very soon, not much is going to be left of these Pinos as well if they don't escape. They will escape, but they're in the negative cover now, and they've got a Sturm Pioneer very, very close to them. So, honestly, there's a chance that they get wiped. Probably not, but there is a chance. And look at that, they're still getting kind of blocked by the retreat path of that Sturm Pioneer, so that's not good. Will they be able to escape? There's yet 3 more riflemen. They turn around the corner, but there's also some more Pinos. Can they rescue them? They are in negative cover. Can they get the last shot in? No, they cannot. So the Pino battalion gets in close and fires back, destroying that squad's hopes and dreams. Up here, Char Martel has been very smartly capturing all of these points. And that is exactly what I like to see whenever there's a 2v2. I really like to see that when a player knows that his opponent is sending his boys to help out his ally, he can just come in and capture all the points with impunity. In fact, he should come in and capture all the points, because otherwise it would be just to gift, essentially, the enemies a free bit of resources, because they're not protecting those points. They should be taken from them. They deserve to lose them. And at this point, it's going to be relatively more difficult for Jarkov to come back around and capture the right side, because as you can see, with all these Pinos around and even some Guards riflemen from, of course, Guard Mortal Coordination Tactics, it's not like these Volksgrenadiers are at this point any more adequate than they were before at taking out the Pinos. In fact, they're, if anything, a lot more weak. So they're going to need to find some way to deal with these Pinos. And the Puma is definitely not one. It's kind of strange that he did not go for a Lux first, because it's not like there's a lot of light vehicles for him to kill. Although I guess he is kind of he's kind of far-seeing, because there is a tank heavy battalion command coming up for Maxis. However, in fighting Char Martel's infantry, he clearly expected something else to happen there. In fighting Char Martel's infantry, the Puma is not going to be that useful at all. Taking a look at the overall situation, you can see that the Germans tried to pull a lot of forces to attack on the right side, but they were kind of caught with their pants down by these 2 Pinos. And so, of course, the armored car has to kind of retreat. And now the Pinos are doing a lot of work against all of the German infantry, forcing back one of the Sturm Pioneers. They can get in here, and also a nice satchel charge. Will they be able to escape? Yes, they will, but just barely. And there's also a third Pino coming in from Char Martel, so an excellent flank, pincering them from 2 directions. And they're, of course, fixing them in the front with this Pino battalion. So this Volksgrenadier squad is now in serious trouble. They've got the house, but they're surrounded on all sides by angry Soviets yearning for freedom. And if they know that if they do not, kill these guys, then the Commissar behind them has a Maxim and will mow them down. So very, very accurately forces them back to base. And what's good for the Germans is that, of course, here comes the back and forth of the 2v2. If one player sends his troops to help out his ally, you are creating a power vacuum, so you can come in and fill that up. And what Clusterfuck did was that he went for that with an MG34, which is not the best of ideas, to be honest, because putting an MG34 in this building is relatively vulnerable to things like this. Here comes the satchel charge. See, here he tried to get the cheeky satchel charge on the Sturm Pioneer to see if the opponent was paying attention. But what if these Pinos have been able to get from across multiple angles into this MG? into close range. They could have satchel charged the MG and forced it out of the building, and that would have been very, very bad. So honestly, a machine gun so far forward for the Germans on this side of the map against the Pino Battalion player might not be the best of ideas, but we'll see, because the Germans seem to be on a bit of an upswing. They got very, very, very heavily hit earlier on by the Allies. They are now at 387 VPs, so they need to find some way to, I guess, stemmy that resource bleed, not resource, ticket bleed. Sorry, gotta take a sip of water. Okay, see, you can see my cursor, and yeah, that was predictable. That was very, very predictable, to be honest. Should have retreated a lot earlier. Here comes an incendiary grenade. Yet another incendiary grenade. Look at this incendiary grenade spam. Like, the Germans right now are not having the best of days when it comes to munitions because they've used so much. They have used so much. And here comes the T-70 on the field for Demaxis. Charles Martel, in terms of teching, he's also got a T-70 coming up into the field, so that is pretty good. The first one is going to decide to come up here against this MG34, which might be a very bad idea, because look at this. He knows that there's a Puma, but he decides to come in and attack essentially unsupported with the T-70 anyway, and that's going to be bad because the Puma can fire on him. He's lucky that the Rakenwerfer did not get the setup. He's very lucky that the Puma came in just, like, I think 5 seconds too early. Had he allowed these Volksgrenadiers to get in with the cover of the building, because of course the T-70 was on the other side of the building, so the true side would have prevented it from seeing these Volksgrenadiers. So the Volksgrenadiers could have ambushed the T-70 and Panzerfausted him, and then he would have needed to come in with a Puma. I think that this was a mistiming, it was a big mistake by Jarkov. He could have destroyed the T-70 had he not done that, but he might still get another opportunity with Charles Martel's T-70, which almost wipes out a Volksgrenadier squad. Very luckily for Jarkov, it does not get the killing shot on those two remaining units. However, the Puma is still on the hunt and looking for the T-70. Essentially, the T-70 at this point is just going to be a big old, like, just punching bag for the Puma armored car. I just said Puma like AE does. Or like Stormless, I don't know. Just British people just say Puma. I hate it. I guess now I'm seeing Puma too. So the Puma, the Puma is pretty good at dealing with T-70s, and it's going to be especially great because it's going to just rack up that experience and get himself some veterancy. The Puma's veterancy is very, very good. However, it's usually not able to get too much veterancy because it's just hard to get veterancy on the Puma. You need to fire on vehicles, and you're going to need to have a lot of damage dealt against vehicles in the early to mid game. So Puma managing to prevent the guards riflemen from doing anything, and oh no, he decided to retreat through the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker. Gotta screenshot that, man. That was pretty hilarious. Wrong neighborhood to retreat through for the guards riflemen. They're gonna get sent to the grave, and well, there's probably some babushka in Chelyabinsk that's crying right now. Anyway, oh boy, that could have been so amazing. Well, yeah, of course, there goes the T-70. That was expected. But did you see that? The Pinos were almost about to throw a satchel charge, but oh no! So many STG-44s, but the satchel charge this time will go off. It does not wipe out anyone, though, because it was such a huge blob that everyone was just kind of mixed up, and no squad was really fully concentrated into one place. So lots of damage on free squads, but no actual squad kills. And that is 2 penals going down for Charles Martel. Actually, no, not 2 penals. 1 penal and 1 guards rifleman. That is a huge loss for him. 360 manpower on that guards, and I think 300 on the penals. Yes, so 660 manpower just lost. That is a pretty big setback for him. Not just manpower, also veterancy. So there's a lot of babushka right now, or rather babushki, crying somewhere in the middle of Russia. Oh, that was a hilarious snipe. So guards riflemen actually managing. That was incredibly lucky, though. Did you see that? These poor guys over here got sniped, both of them by PTRS guys. Okay, so there's 2 PTRS guys in the guards rifleman squad, and they both got snipes off on models, which is very rare after the PTRS nerf. because there was a moment in time where that was happening way too much, and PTRSs were a little bit OP, not because of the guards actually, but because of the anti-tank doctrine on the Soviets that gave the conscript package PTRS. Anyway, the Nazis right now have a triple cap, so that's of course very, very good for them. Oh no, the sniper squad decides to move up. That's a very bad decision because the Puma is a little recon vehicle, so it does have the spotting, the extra spotting on the snipers. The snipers need to be very, very careful about this, and honestly going for a sniper this late is an interesting choice, but clearly it's been on the field for a little bit because it's got 7 kills. Let's actually check out. If I can check out how long has this guy been on the field. 11 minutes, so 4 minutes. 4 minutes on the field. That's still a kind of interesting timing for a sniper. 2 Raketenwerfers. Okay, that's a decent choice. He clearly is kind of afraid of the Soviet armor, which is gonna come. Oh, is it going to come? Soviet industry on the field. So KV-2 heavy assault tank is going to come on the field. That is a great unit. Can't get that yet, but we'll be able to get it eventually. Oh, amazing satchel charge, completely destroying that Raketenwerfer. Man, we've seen so many like absurd wipes this game so far. This is honestly like the game of the perfect wipe in a way. And right now, the second Raketenwerfer is also wiped out, but oh boy, there's a little bit bigger problems for the Allies coming in right now. It is in the form of the Panzer IV, also the Obersoldaten, so the Germans really kicking into the late game with these tier 4 units. Charles Martel going for an Su-76. In my opinion, that's a good decision because he needs something to deal with the Panzer IV right now. The Panzer IV is chasing down that sniper, which might be, yeah, it's a pretty good idea because he kills the sniper. There goes a lot of manpower for him. However, he pushes up way too far into the Allied base and actually goes close enough to these Pinos to eat a satchel charge. So now it is in a very, very bad spot. Su-76, PTRSs, more satchel charges from all sides. And that is the Soviet anti-tank tactics in a nutshell. Too many projectiles for that Panzer IV armor to deal with effectively. So very, 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 very good for the Allies. They take out the Panzer IV before it can really rack up a lot of kills, before it can get the Panzerrolling kind of effect that the Nazis really like to see. As in, the Panzer comes in, the enemies may not have adequate AT. If they do not have adequate AT, you can use it to kill a lot of enemies. If it kills a lot of enemies, it gets a lot of veterancy. Nazi Panzers have very, very good veterancy bonuses. So even when they have the counters to the Panzer, the veterancy bonuses are going to help it to stay relevant. That is usually what the Panzer IVs are trying to do, but this time it clearly could not do that. So that is a bit of a huge waste of resources for Jarkov. Wait, was it Jark? No, it was actually Clusterfuck. Jarkov is going with zone P4. So Panzerfia on the field, and well, we'll see about that. I mean, he's already seen his buddy lose a Panzer IV. Will that be enough? No. He's already seen his buddy lose a P4. In my opinion, it's not the best idea to go with the same thing that your ally just failed with. But hey, we'll see. RGD-34 grenade, not enough. Was a good grenade by the guards, but not enough. Fucking hell, they are killing us. So, Soviets right now... Yeah, the Guards Riflemen trying to do their thing. As you can see, the Soviets are pushing down south. The Nazis have been able to get up to 381 points, or rather were forced down to 381 points in the first few minutes of the game. But now, the Nazis have been able to force the Allies back to 300 points. Which is pretty great for them. Of course, with the P4, they can sort of help in dealing with the Allied infantry, so they can keep that map control a little bit longer than they normally would be. They're gonna not have the triple cap in a little bit because of the right side, but the center and the left-hand side are pretty much locked down by them. Thanks to the Schwer Panzer headquarters on the left side, Clusterfuck can deal with any attempt at capturing there. The machine gun here can deal with any attempt at capture the center. Although the Scout Sniper Squad being sneaky. Oh, that was a bad decision, Dimitri. That was a bad idea. Run! Run! It's a Panzer IV. Okay, he at least was able to... There goes the sniper, number 2. And what is the Su-76 doing? It looks like he moved up a little bit too far, but at least these Pinos can finish off the capture. Can they? I do not know. Su-76M, of course, using his glorious skills, using that artillery barrage. That is actually doing a lot of damage to the building itself, so that's a pretty good choice, to be honest, because if it can destroy the building, the enemy can't use it. Oh, that is unfortunate. The Panzer IV misses and the Su-76M bounces. Both things that don't normally happen. So, oh wow, another bounce. Damn. So this Panzer IV is pretty lucky. Of course, the Panzer IV with the OKW, of the OKW version, does have the additional armor because he's got armored skirts right off the bat. Because, of course, the armor, you know, putting more armor on the side equals more armor everywhere. That's the Company Furious 2 logic. So the T-70 that lived earlier, yeah, this one is the T-70 that lived, right. So the T-70 that lived is, you know, still being annoying, but was it worth to lose a P4 to try to kill it? No, it wasn't. So, in my opinion, that was a big, big mistake by Clusterfuck. Up north, the Obersoldaten and... No, not actually up north. It's in the center. The Obersoldaten and the MG34 trying to move in. And a nice grenade, but not enough. With the support of the MG34, these Pinos are forced to retreat. Now the guards are gonna try round 2 against the machine gun. Once again, at the front, this is starting to look a little bit more like one of those bad movies about the Russian army or something. Like Enemy at the Gates, where they just charge machine guns, because that is what armies do. When something doesn't work, try again. This time, with machine gun to the rear. So if your guys run away, you kill them. All right, it's looking pretty good for the Germans though overall, because as you can see, the Allies are still bleeding points like a stuffed pig, and they're down to 265. And the Allies, it's not like they really up-jumped their capabilities at all since the last, well, I say that, but they just got an Su-85. Except for this Su-85, it's not like the Allies got anything that they didn't have earlier. Like, they can't really do anything with their army that they couldn't do 10 minutes ago. In fact, they can probably do even less because they've lost 2 snipers. So they're about to get the 3rd sniper. They're, you know, they've got the sniping capabilities again, but still, that's, oh, nice. That is a good satchel charge. Still, that is pretty bad. Like, to be honest, right now, the Allies are kind of in an identity crisis. They don't know what they're going to try to do to counter what the Germans are doing. And what the Germans are doing is pretty standard. They're trying to go for some versatile late-game units. So P4, and then, of course, a bit of support from these Obersoldaten. Clusterfuck has also kind of forfeited going for anything too specific, but, you know, he's going for the 2nd Panzer IV. So they're trying to just maintain what they have, the Germans. The Allies, on the other hand, are not sure on how to get back their superiority. Like, they're not sure how to get back the lead, whereas the Germans are just trying anything to maintain that lead without doing anything too risky. And that could be a bad approach from both sides. It's going to depend on how both sides really play this one out, because it's not like either side really is countering each other out. Although the Maxis is really starting to look pretty strong, despite the fact that he lost those snipers. He is getting, with the other sniper, he can deal with those Raketenwerfers, and he is starting to get some pretty nasty vehicles on the field. He's got the Su-85, that means that he has tier 4, which means that he can get a Katyusha. It also means that he can get the KV-2 heavy assault tank because he's up to 17 CPs with his Soviet industry. The only thing that's lacking right now on the Allies' side, I think, is resources. In terms of resource income, they're pretty standardly even to the Axis. That's fine, but they need to be ahead because the Allied vehicles are actually relatively weaker than the Axis counterparts, and in general, the Allies need a bit of an extra early game to mid-game lead. If you want to go to the late game with the Soviet industry, I think that the Maxis should really start to invest into a few fuel caches. And he could not have done that in these last few minutes because he had to rebuild the snipers twice, which was about 720 manpower. Here comes a massive airborne assault on a lot of Allied forces. The problem is the airborne assault actually first uses its strafes and then tries to bomb people. So yeah, the Su-85 will be able to escape. Still though, the big mistake, again, in my opinion, is the fact that they didn't try to get any fuel caches Because at this point, had the Maxes gone for a fuel cache or two, and now he needs some engineers even to build that fuel cache and also to repair his vehicles, which is, yeah, pretty bad. Had they gotten that, then they would be in a much better position right about now than they are. Because as it stands, the KV-2 Heavy Assault Tank will come on the field about the same time the Jagdtiger will. And that is not that good, because the Jagdtiger will just counter the KV-2. Although, I am not too sure about this. Like, will the Jagdtiger come in? Who knows? Da-da-da. And look at this. This entire side of the map is just being abandoned to the wolves. In this case, the wolves are the Soviet, you know, logistics crews, or whatever, however these points work. I guess they just teleport resources straight into like logistics yards back in the homeland or something. Oh boy. Oh boy, that Panzer IV. Okay, never mind. So I'm just imagining like at some Smolensk fucking warehouse, the Soviet workers are just waiting for just random shipments of fuel to appear out of thin air, and then you know, they get to work and all that. Oh boy, that's good. That's good. They got vet. All right, it's vet free actually. Sorry. See, almost vet free with the T-70 light tank, and once he gets vet free, he's gonna have the extra recon sight, which is amazing because already look at this. Like, that's line of sight. That's line of sight and a half, to be completely honest. That's why you keep T-70s alive to the late game, because these things are insanely useful as recon. If you use the recon mode, they can both cap and recon at the same time, which means they're also useful as harassment tools, because guess what? They go back around and they cap points, and they also know when bad things are coming to kill them, and oh no! Not another sniper is going to die! But at this point, the Panzer IV might have met his match with the Su-85. Yup, that is a lot of damage. Also, the Pinos not getting in close enough to get that. Unfortunately, by that I mean the Satchel Charge. Here comes a assault artillery, but the Su-85 was able to destroy the Panzer IV, and he was defended very well by that T-70. That is also another role in which the T-70 can excel, defending Su-85s from enemy infantry attacks. The Guards Riflemen are trying to hold onto the center of VP desperately, just to prevent the enemy from having a triple cap, and they are successful in pushing back the first Volksgrenadier unit, but the second Volksgrenadier unit might be too much for them with the support of the MG34. There's also some Oberstadtlein up here capturing these points, which is very, very good for them. The Panzer IV Ops J that tries to come into the center is not going to be able to do anything because of these Su-85s. The Su-85s, no, sorry, Su-76s. The Su-76s can't do anything either because of the infantry. Will they try to? Yes, they will. They will try to use the artillery barrage, and actually there's a few Pinos over here. The Pinos should probably try to chase them down and kill them. Oh, look at that. One of the units is wiped out, but that Vet 5 Volksgrenadier might have been wiped out had these Pinos just moved up like this. That is kind of unfortunate, but at least they will be able to recapture the center VP. Very good usage of these two Su-85, sorry, no, Su-85s once again. Su-76s, very, very good usage of that. I like that. Here comes a Panther for Jarkov, so he's not going to go for the glorious Jagdtiger anytime soon, and that's kind of a mistake in my opinion, because he knows that the enemy has a lot of, oh boy, okay. Because he knows that the enemy has a lot of TDs, so why not go for a Jagdtiger just to counter them really hard? I think that this is a mistake, because he thinks he's going for the more versatile option with the Panther, but it's not like the Panther is going to be able to do anything except hunt vehicles. Because I would have said that the Panther is a more versatile option than the Jagdtiger if he was facing, for example, a shock troop / conscript player. But he's facing Pinos and Guards, which have light AT, and they have a lot of ways of just in general annoying armor, dealing damage to armor and all of that. So the only thing that the Panther is really going to be able to do is fight vehicles. And if you want to fight vehicles on a map like this, especially with a lot of line of sight to work with, you might as well just go with the Jagdtiger. But yes, rant out, and right now, very good usage of the Su-85, putting pressure on the Schwer Panzer headquarters. However, it's a little bit too early, and actually a second Panther, this time from Clusterfuck. Nice usage of the Panzerfaust is going to be enough, is it? Well, the Panther definitely misplayed here, but it will be enough to destroy the Su-85. Oh, recruit the Raketenwerfer, so close. He's not recruiting the Raketenwerfer. That is so unfortunate. He's forgetting about this, but thankfully, here comes the Su-76 to save the day. Big bombing run from airborne assault. It's not enough to save that big cat. So good play from the Allies, and once again a little bit too reckless from the Germans, getting their tank wiped out. That is pretty sad for them. Did I hear an artillery strike? Well, clearly not, because no artillery strikes happened, but I thought I heard some rockets firing, but nope. Ooh. He survives, but T-70, the Vet-free T-70 is about to get Panzerfausted, and I think that the P-4 is coming to kill the T-70. But is it a good idea? He might be going right into an ambush, and well, he's incredibly lucky, to be honest. The Su-76, though, yeah, they're not intending to wait upon Lady Luck. They are historical materialists, and they don't believe in luck. They're charging in. Will it be enough? Almost. Almost. Very, very lucky, that Panzer IV. And now the T-70s, no, sorry, not the T-70s, the Su-85s, Su-76s, goddammit, are in trouble. The Panther is really, really coming in. And the Katyusha, will it be able to just wipe out anything? No, it will not. And right now, the Katyusha is in also a very, very bad state. The Panther is going to try to chase it down and kill it, but it's not enough. The Pinos are PTRSing it to the face, and with the satchel charge, the Panther is in a bad way because there is a second Su-85 on the field for the Maxis. And actually, the T-34-85 over here destroys an MG. Wait, no, that's not an MG. That is an Obersoldaten squad. Amazing kill for the T-34-85. Can it get yet another high-value kill? Yes, it probably can. It bounces the first shot. No, why are you not chasing it down? I think that would have been a very good kill for you. That is comprehensible, though. He would have essentially been chasing into a very, very dark zone with no, and I call it no, Allied recon, so the Allies didn't have any information on what was going on there. It was a smart move, to be honest, to not chase down that Panther. It is unlucky, though, because Char Martel, had he chased that thing down, I think he would have been able to kill it, and might have been able to kill the Puma as well. Maybe he would have had to sacrifice the T-34-85 because of that, though. And there is a second Su-76 coming in instead of a second T-34-85, instead of waiting for that. I think that that's a mistake, because the T-34-85, just in general, has a little bit more firepower than the Su-76, and it's also useful against infantry, and it's also more mobile, and of course it's more expensive, but oh boy, first T-34-85 might even go down. The Panzer IV, though, decides to chase down into a very bad neighborhood. He gets buttoned by the guards, but luckily for him, there's no more anti-tank. The Su-76 could have tried to chase, but there's a second Panzer IV here, the veterancy-free one, so nope. He's gonna nope out of there. And a few victories for the Axis. Despite the fact that the Allies were on the upswing, the Axis get a few nice wins. Can they capitalize on them? I do not know. They need to be careful because there's this Su-85 that's going to come in and destroy their Schwerpanzer. So they're going to need to find a coherent way to take that out. And now they're also trying to repair their vehicles. So right now they're actually in a very, very vulnerable state because look at this. 3 tanks, very damaged. 1 tank slightly damaged. That means that the field is completely left to Allied armor and infantry. Although the Allied armor isn't really all that menacing to Axis infantry, it can at least deal with that Schwerpanzer quarters, using the sniper also to help out with recon and line of sight. So that is pretty good for them. The VP saturation is still in the favor of the Axis right now. So the Allies are going to need to try to find a way to keep these points, rather. It's not really a problem of capturing, because they can capture these points relatively easily. It's a problem of holding them for now, because they don't really have any support weapons. They don't have any Maxims. None of them, in fact, have support weapons Campania. So I think this is a mistake. At least one of these Soviet players should have back-teched to support weapons Campania, because it would have not only given him the ability to go with those glorious Maxim machine guns, but also 76mm anti-tank guns aren't bad, and it's just useful to have all those things in the late game. Because he doesn't have any of that, he can't really, or rather they can't really hold onto these points that effectively, because whenever they do anything, well, the Germans can just come back around and recapture it while their units are back at base reinforcing or something. Oh boy, the Axis really needs some Stern Pioneers, man. Like, these vehicles are still being repaired. That's allowing the Allies a lot of time to actually rebuild their forces, because if you remembered, they were in a pretty bad spot, having just lost a couple of pretty crucial engagements. But now they're really starting to regain that strength of theirs. The Maxis is going for a second Su-85, which, in my opinion, it's not the best idea, because I would have gone for the KV-2 heavy assault tank, but I can understand what he's trying to do. Like, he sees that these Panzer IVs are just very, very much raving and rampaging and trying to just be annoyances. So having more Su-85s to him seems like a very, very logical answer to that. In my opinion, he should still be waiting for the KV-2, because it would provide him with that extra bit of area control, essentially. You plop the KV-2 down onto one place, and you defend that place pretty much indefinitely. Whereas these other units, well, they're very, very vulnerable to flanking and the like. As you can see, at this point, the determined assault coming in from the Germans is going to force back whatever Allied forces were around here. So, once again, that problem of holding the points. They can take them, but they can't hold them. And now, it's starting to become crucial to actually hold the points, because with the Allies down to 126 VPs, there goes one of those Panzer IVs. Very well done by the Su-85. With the Allies down to 126 VPs, it is starting to become very, very crucial for them to hold the points and to prevent any ticket bleed from happening. Because if you have 500 points, it's like, yeah, 1 VP every 3 seconds, that's not really that big of a deal. Because it's going to take, like, what? Alright. Oh, big Yak Tiger on the field. Is this a big push? This might be the big push from Strahl Martel. This is kind of premature, I think. He didn't have his infantry in place. He's trying to move in. Maybe he's just trying to kind of, I guess, shy that Panzer away. I don't know. That was weird. That was a weird push, I would say. But has he lulled the Germans into a false sense of security? Because now they have managed to get some suppression in. So they're thinking to move in, but it's a little bit late. Okay, whatever. Fascisti on the attack. What are these people trying to do? Ooh, good, good. Placing down those mines. He has also noticed, just like I did, that the enemy doesn't really have that many minesweepers or engineers. So that is a very, very good thing. See, like, that's the thing I don't understand with the OKW players. They have, like, a bunch of munitions, and they have a Sturm Pioneer squad, and they know the enemy might have mines. In fact, scrap that. They're playing Company Heroes 2. And they have engineers, and they have munitions. Get a minesweeper, especially with the OKW. That is kind of important, because the support package does not only provide that minesweeper. The minesweeper is good. What's better is the fact that it also improves their repair rate. God damn it. So you need this thing. You just need the support package. It's only 30 munitions, and just whenever you're playing Company of Heroes 2, or any strategy game as a whole, you should always be thinking while you're playing, essentially what you're doing wrong in the moment, right? You should be trying to find out what you're doing wrong and right. especially what you're doing wrong, so that you can change it. And oh boy, that Panther is about to get completely and spectacularly encircled and wiped out. Very good. Very good play from the allies, but that was absolutely horrible from the Axis. What was that Panther thinking? That was clearly one of those like Hitler-Jugend Panthers thinking like, yeah, the almighty spirit of the Nibelungen protects me or something. And clearly it did not work. Anyway, see, the thing is, it's good to think about what you're doing wrong. And the best way to find out, though, because clearly, like, in the middle of a game, it can be pretty hard to, like, rationalize what you're doing wrong, is to see the actual practical effects of what is happening. Like, if your tank is taking damage from something, you should probably find something to counter that damage. If you constantly don't have enough repair, essentially, to get your vehicles back onto the field quick enough, then you need more repair. And so you should use that to help out your decision making. And Jarkov kind of did that and finally got himself some minesweepers. But still, like, that's kind of annoying. And that's what's really good about, like, these jack of all trades kind of units, especially in, you know, multiplayer RTSs. And especially, like, things that just have a lot of ways to use them. I know it's not the best way to phrase that, but yeah, if anything has multiple uses, it's like easier for you to think about, well, I might need one of those things, and you upgrade it, and then you end up using the other things anyway, if that makes any sense. Because if something is very, very highly specialized, for example, if you remember that T-70 with the recon mode, like, that's not something that you think about every day, so it's of course not going to get used all that much. You think less, oh hey, I need to save up my T-70 for the late game, because I'm going to use it as a recon tool. You don't really think like that. But with a kind of unit or ability that has multiple, or an upgrade that has multiple uses, well, you more easily think about one of those uses and try to get that, and then end up using the other things anyway. And of course, by the way, in the meantime, thanks to the fact that that Panther died, the S-35s are essentially, with impunity, really fighting it out with that Jagdtiger. One of the Penals did die during that, and one of the S-35s, but that is a worth it exchange. Also, one of these Panzer IV FJs is the Crude. In the meantime, these Rakenawerfers are trying to come in and trying to destroy the Katyusha and the S-85. They do manage to get the Katyusha. The S-85 can probably escape out of there, but one of the Rakenawerfers is dead, and the second Rakenawerfer is taking a lot of fire from these not these Penals, sorry, these are the Guards Riflemen. The Guards Riflemen, with that firepower from the DP-28s, can probably deal with these two German infantry squads, and once they deal with the infantry squads, they can probably destroy the Rakenawerfers. So overall, despite the fact that the Germans getting a few backlashes on the Allies, they probably get the worst of that engagement, to be completely honest. And I think that with essentially Clusterfuck having no more armor, and Jarkov being down to his Vet 5 Puma, very, very well done on the Puma, by the way, down to his Vet 5 Puma and his destroyed P4, I think that this is about the end. So what did the Allies do that gave them a bit of an upper edge in the late game as opposed to the Germans? Combined arms, absolutely. They were able to concentrate their forces in a much better way essentially all of the time. You saw that earlier. The Panther coming in alone. There was earlier on the Panzer IV charging straight into the base alone. There was the second Panzer IV down here trying to do something and then getting Su-76th. Then there was the Panther up here. Wait, no, it was not a Panther. It was a couple of Panzer IVs trying to push in here. And they were kind of lucky in that they were able to destroy the T-34-85, but they still took massive casualties, or rather massive damage. And then the infantry suffered because they were forced, of course, to retreat. Whereas the Allies were always combining their PTRS, anti-infantry, and vehicles with the help of some other specialized units, such as these snipers, and of course, the Glory, that is the Katyusha, but the Katyusha didn't last very long. So the Allies were able to combine essentially the usage of their units a lot better than the Germans. So combined arms really pulling together. In the end, it didn't really come down to like doctrines at all, because the Maxis only at the end was able to get the strong KV2, oh boy. Strong KV2, my friend. And I love this thing, but this time it really didn't do anything. I know my stupid fall Russian accent is cringy, but you just gotta endure it, because whenever the KV2 is around, you have to do stupid Russian accent. This thing just commands you to do that. Anyway, it didn't really do anything, and the Su-85s were really carrying the day over there, kind of being like pack mules. Su-76Ms also playing the same part for Charles Martel, but that's because, I don't know, he decided to go with Su-76s instead of Su-85s. I think that was a viable option for him, because he was facing the Panzer IV spammer. Like, Zharkov really going heavy on those P4s in the early to mid game, given that opportunity. And the Germans also didn't really use their doctrines. Like, Zharkov was waiting for that Jagdtiger, and I don't think, like, he really thought about using Panzer Fusiliers seriously in the early to mid game, because he wanted to keep the surprise or whatever. And I never realized that the Panzer Fusiliers have scoped G43s. Huh. I didn't know that package worked that way. See, I always thought that they got 6 G43s. I always thought that they got 6 G43s unscoped, so that they would be like the G43 package Elite Troops Grenadiers. But as it turns out, they get 3 G43 scoped rifles, and 3 of them stay with Kar 98s. Are those Kar 98s? Yeah, they're Kar 98s. Well, okay. Color me surprised. And actually, because they have the scoped versions, do they have the execute mechanic? If anyone knows, do tell me down in the comments. Anyway, yeah, so in the end, they were just able to use the combined arms better. No one really made that much of a use of the doctrines, so in the end, it was not really to be. So I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed, and I will see you soon. I need to go take a shit.